statement by the Vice President of the Commission, High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. We're going to talk about the 25th anniversary of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. For the Commission, Mrs. Mogherini has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I would like to start by remembering that today in this hemicycle, the Sakharov Prize was given to a man that is fighting not only for the freedom of thought and democracy and peace in his country, just the day after the International Day Against Violence on Women, as last year's prize was to Malala, that this year is the Nobel Peace Prize, together with Kailash Satyarthi, that worked on the right to education, the children's rights. And I believe that this means the European Parliament is keeping a very open and effective eye on the protection of human rights and the promotion of human rights. Last week, we celebrated the 25th anniversary of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. And I would welcome the unprecedented global support for the Convention. Now, you know that the European Union has a treaty objective to promote the protection of the rights of the child. The UN Convention on the Rights of the Child guides the EU at the moment throughout its actions in realising the rights of the child, as included in the Charter of Fundamental Rights. And you also know that it is the most ratified human rights convention worldwide. All European Union member states have ratified it, which means that indirectly the rights are binding not only for member states but for the action of the European Union as such. And let me here refer to a letter that I've received from some of the members of this Parliament asking for a ratification of the Convention by the European Union. That would turn the respect of the rights of the child from an objective to a legal obligation. And let me say in the very beginning that I'm ready to work with Commissioner Jourova to see the possibilities and check the possibilities of proceeding on this way and explore the ways. But let me also say that I welcome very much the Parliament initiative to adopt a resolution on this issue, as well as I appreciate the efforts of the Italian Presidency to have in early December the Council adopt conclusions on the promotion and protection of children's rights. Within the European Union, we have done a lot, and I'm sure that you're all aware of the progresses that have been made on internal policies on that. But I know very well that under my responsibility lies in particular the steps that we still need to make on the implementation and the work that we can do outside of the European Union, especially when we see how many children are victims of violence in the world, are victims of war, rights violations, and how many children are mostly affected by poverty, and how many children flee from the countries for different reasons. Now, I really believe that we have a responsibility to take in our external action, and I was looking at the figures and I was satisfied by seeing that today children's rights are a priority in 86 of the EU delegations in the world, and 116 have prioritised gender-related issues. And we also know very well how the two elements sometimes are interlinked in the work, especially that we do around the world. We have been working together with UNICEF very closely, especially developing a child rights toolkit to mark the 25th anniversary of the UN Convention. All the EU delegations, together with UNICEF country offices, have presented around the world last week. And in the spirit of the same cooperation, we have actively supported the UN campaign Children, Not Soldiers, jointly initiated by the UN Special Representative of the Secretary General for Children and Armed Conflict and UNICEF. More than 108,000 children affected by armed conflict have already benefited from the EU decision in late 2012 to use the Nobel Peace Prize to assist children in conflict situations. And this EU Children of Peace initiative has been turned into a multi-annual assistance programme on education in emergencies, with more than €12 million committed since 2012. On child labour, it is to me encouraging, even if partially, that according to the ILO, the global number of children in labour has declined in the last 14 years. However, 85 million child labourers in the 5 to 17 years old are involved in hazardous work, which is one of the worst forms of child labour. And we use our human rights dialogues to encourage countries to sign, ratify and implement, so mainly implement, the ILO Convention 182 on the worst forms of child labour. Let me also refer to the need that we have to make targeted efforts to protect children from female genital mutilation and child early and forced marriage. Again, here I refer to what happens inside the European Union and globally, because we tend too often to think that these are problems that happen only far away from us, while we are also responsible for what happens within our European Union. In July in London, there was an important Girls' Summit where the EU announced its commitment to allocate more than €100 million for the next 7 years to gender equality and children well-being. And let me say that I am personally committed to stick to that engagement from the European Union and mainly to work on the follow-up of this commitment. We will continue to work in close relation with the UN system, with UN special representatives and envoys, with other organisations like the Council of Europe, but let me stress mostly the work we can do with civil society organisations, with NGOs that I value very much as a great possibility of partnership for fruitful cooperation, in particular as we work towards one of the main challenges that we will have for 2015, which is the work on the post-2015 development agenda. It is important that children's rights are completely and fully included in that agenda, and that we find active and effective ways of working on that. I will close here because I know the President is worried about the fact that we are running very late. I thank you very much for this initiative. I believe it is extremely important as a resolution, and I would conclude by mentioning a paragraph of the resolution, if you allow me, paragraph 28, that calls on the Vice President High Representative. Again, I would invite you, if possible, to refer to my title as it is referred in the treaties, High Representative / Vice President. Nothing personal, nothing political. Again, I will always be sitting on this side of the hemicycle. I will be Vice President of the Commission, but we have to refer to the treaties in the right way. Anyway, calls on me to prioritise children's rights in all EU external action so as to ensure the effective mainstreaming of children's rights, including in the context of human rights dialogues, trade agreements, the accession process and the European neighbourhood policy, and in relations with the African, Caribbean and Pacific group of states, in particular countries in conflict. Fully committed to do that, and extremely happy that you asked me to commit to that, because to me it's going to be an extremely helpful cooperation with you in this field, together with the partners I mentioned, and I look forward to an effective and useful work on this topic in the coming future. I thank you very much.
Bardzo dziękuję, pani komisarz.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.